All righty. Looks like we have a great turnout tonight, everyone. Thank you all for joining in and being interested in the Outdoors Club. We just have a short little slideshow for you all tonight, and then we'll hopefully get to know some of you and hear about what you would like to see us offer this semester. Because we know with COVID, it's very different this year, and we're finally back on campus. So hopefully we can run some really cool events. So you're in the right place if you're looking for the Outdoor Club. This is a lovely photo taken a couple years ago in our Grand Canyon backpacking trip, which is a national park in the US. We would normally run it in the winter every other year, but it is currently on hold with all the travel restrictions. Just before we get started, I'm going to point out that the club does have two wonderful sponsors, and those are Adventure Attic, which is a independent outdoor equipment store in Dundas. Outdoor Club members get a 10% discount off at that store. And then also we are a Parks Canada club and receive some funding from Parks Canada and their campus club network. So as we get started here, we're going to start off with our land acknowledgement, which we like to do before all of our events, just to recognize the significance of it. So McMaster University and the Outdoor Club recognizes and acknowledges that it is located on the traditional territories of the Massasauga and Haudenosaunee nations, north of the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. McMaster has a number of resources if you're interested in delving deeper into this, either through McMaster University or the Indigenous Studies Department. So the Outdoor Club has been around for quite a while. We started in the early 1960s as an MSU club, and recently, about 1997-ish, joined the athletic department. So we are now considered an athletics and recreation club, which is why you might not have been able to find us on the MSU clubs directory if you were looking through it. So we don't actually fall under the student union anymore, which sometimes makes it difficult for people to find us. This year we have quite a large exec team of 18 members, but that just means there's more of us to do more things for you. Just to go through everyone quickly, these are our lovely executives. My name is Noah. I'm the president, and we have two presidents this year, me and Jesse, as well as a very strong executive team with all these lovely folks that you see on our screen here. I'm just going to stop the slideshow just for a moment so all of our exec on the call can introduce themselves for a little bit. Hi, so, like I said, just so you can see my face, my name is Noah. I'm a master's student in biology, and I'm one of the presidents this year. And you might have noticed me if you're returning from previous years as well. And we'll pass it on to Jason.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for the introduction. So my name is Jesse, and I am the other co-president of Outdoor Club. Sorry for the weird background noise and seatbelts. My driver performance today was significantly longer than expected because I'm sure, as all of you can see outside, the roads are really bad. So I'm almost home. Oh, and I'm in my fifth year. I'm finishing up my second degree, and it's my college.
You're not driving.
All right, we'll pass it along to Hannah.
Hi everyone, my name's Hannah. I'm in my third year of astrophysics here at MAC, and this is my third year with the club, and I'm the vice president internal this year.
And we do have one other vice president, Emily, who can't join us right now, but might be later. Who else is on the call? Go next to Emma.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma. I'm in my fifth year of kinesiology, and this is my first year with the Mcmaster Outdoors Club. I'm one of the social coordinators with the other coordinator, Roa, who couldn't join us tonight. And we're both super excited to plan in-person socials and meet all of you and do a lot of fun stuff to get to know each other.
Awesome. Chloe.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm in my third year of molecular and biology and genetics, and it's also my third year with Outdoors Club. I am one of the media coordinators, which means I help run the Instagram and Facebook and email and whatnot, along with Francis, who I think is here as well.
We'll let Francis follow up on that.
Hi everyone, my name is Francis. I am in second year in combined communications and media arts. This is my first year as an exec with the Outdoor Club. I am, as Chloe said, one of the media coordinators along with her, and I'm really glad to see all of you here.
Awesome. Going down my list, I see Stephanie.
Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie and I am in my fourth year of health sciences. I'm the first aid coordinator for the Outdoor Club and this is my second year with the club as exec. And I'm very excited to get this year started.
Perfect. Gabrielle.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabrielle. I'm in my third year of arts and science. This is my second year with the club and I'm the gear coordinator. And like people before me have said, I'm very excited to do in-person stuff this year.
And Kieran.
Hi everyone, I'm Kieran. I'm in my seventh year at this point, and this is my third or fourth year with the club. I'm the outdoor content creator, which is kind of a cool new role that we've created that doesn't necessarily have a job attached to it yet. But I also lead a lot of the hikes, and yeah, excited to meet everyone.
Perfect. And Eleanor.
Hi everyone, my name is Eleanor. I'm one of the trip coordinators for this year, along with Maya, who unfortunately couldn't join us tonight. And I'm looking forward to a great year.
Perfect. So those are just a few of our exec. That's about just over half of us. So hopefully you'll see and meet our other faces if you start coming to some of our events throughout the year. So I'm going to pick back up on our slideshow and just think about any questions you might have as we go through. So, what does the Outdoor Club do and where do we go? This is a lovely little map here that you can find on our website that shows all the little different blue points or places the Outdoor Club has visited over our many years. So most of our activities take place in Canada or the US, but we did manage to make it all the way down to Central America and Costa Rica a couple of years. And basically we've been all over. So we've been coast to coast in Canada, well, coast to coast, because you notice up there, those points at the top are on Baffin Island in the Arctic Ocean. We've also made it out to Hawaii in the Pacific and pretty much all across the US as well. So we've been to quite a high number of locations in a whole bunch of different trips in there, from kayaking and canoeing to hiking and backpacking, rock climbing, river trips, everything in between. So in a normal year, we do this and even more. So we do special kayak rolling clinics and the pool sessions for whitewater skills. We do our Sunday hike series that Kieran mentioned, a whole bunch of socials and different trips to all over the place, different local hikes and cleanup hikes in Coots. We do our gear rental program. We have a number of different resources in our Outdoor Club office and try to offer a bunch of different trainings and certifications, such as Hike Ontario or Wilderness Advanced First Aid and things like that. We can't offer all of these this year, but many of these we will be able to. So this year, these are a few of the things we're hoping to offer. So like last year, we're hoping to continue with our outdoor speaker and outdoor skills workshop series, So if you don't know, a number of them were recorded from last year, where we brought in experts in a number of different outdoor fields who either taught us a skill or talked about their career or something along those nature. And you can look at our YouTube page if you're interested in looking at those, but we're hoping to continue those this year. Our very successful hike of the week that Emily was doing last year, we're hoping to continue, which highlights a different location across Ontario or Canada that you should check out if you are ever nearby, as well as bonfire nights. So we had our first bonfire night last Friday, which was hugely successful. We had over 60 people come and join us. Lots of snacks and foods, and great time meeting all these new fresh faces. We're going to be continuing that theme and running a bonfire either every month or every 2 or 3 weeks, as many as we possibly can to get you guys all out there. These events are all free and open to everyone. Gear rentals is a new program we're excited to bring back. So prior to COVID, the Outdoor Club used to rent our equipment to Mcmaster students, but during COVID, we had to kind of put that on the back burner. But this semester, we are finally able to bring it back. And if you ever need to rent any gear, you can check out our website or email our gear email, and Gabrielle will be happy to help you. Like Kieran said, the Sunday hikes are back. They're starting in October, so keep an eye out for those. The only overnight trip that we will be running this semester due to COVID restrictions is our Hamilton backpacking trip. So we leave from the university by foot and do a bunch of hikes along the Bruce Trail, and then camp overnight in the Dundas Valley and hike back to the university. It's quite a nice trip, and we see a number of different waterfalls and lookout views. So keep an eye out for that. We'll hopefully be posting the dates for that very soon. We're hoping to offer a lot more this semester and potentially additional stuff next semester if COVID restrictions allow. So keep an eye out for that, ask lots of questions, suggest things that you want to see happen, because obviously if you want to see them happen, we want to see them happen too. But most importantly, we like to stress to everyone, we are a resource for any and all questions you have related to the outdoors. So even if you can't do something with us, we'd love to help you do it yourself. So if you didn't know how to book something or wanted information on a hiking route or canoe route or questions related to packing or first aid kits, whatever it may be, reach out to us and we will get you the information you need. So another awesome program that we offer is the Duke of Edinburgh Award. And if Jessie is still on, hopefully she can talk to this for a few minutes.
Hi, yes, I am right here. Again, sorry about the awkward angle. So the Duke of Edinburgh Award is an international award that was started by the former Duke of Edinburgh, the late Prince Philip. For those of you who aren't super familiar with the royal family, he was the Queen's husband until he passed away just last year. It is recognized in tons of countries all around the world, and it's one of those things that looks really, really good on a resume. So there's 3 different levels of it, all 3 of which include doing various activities, including volunteer, athletics, and a skill. And they also all include going on what's called an adventurous journey, which is where the Outdoor Club comes in because it allows us to lead trips that would help you earn your award. If you are interested in participating in the Duke of Edinburgh Awards program, you can contact me. My email is on the slide, and I'll also be hosting a Duke of Edinburgh award in specific information session in about 2 weeks. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Jessie. So to get involved with the Outdoor Club, we've got a whole bunch of different social medias and emails and all kinds of stuff on here. Now that we're finally back in person, you can even check us out at our office. So if you're walking in through DBAC, if you go through the turnstiles and make a right towards the change rooms, you keep on going, you'll go through a set of double doors and signs saying mindfulness center is here. You keep following that hallway to the old squash courts. You'll pass a big door that has a whole bunch of fancy outdoor posters on it. and it'll say the Outdoor Recreation Resource Center. That is our office in there in DBAC B108. And if you're ever looking to rent gear or have any questions, you can find us there. We don't have set office hours this semester, so the best way to get in contact with us would be to email us, and then we could arrange a meeting in person if it's required. So our general email is right here. We have a number of other emails related to trips or leaders or gear if you have more specific questions. But if you don't know where to go for information, that general.outdoorclub.mac email is your place to go. I encourage you to check out our website. We've got a lot of different resources on there about the club and things we do. And always keep up to date with our different social media channels that our lovely media coordinators help manage. So a program that we're hoping to bring back this year is our leadership team. So those are the folks that normally run our hikes, so our day events, but also our overnight trips all across the world that we travel. So we are looking for new people. You don't necessarily need a lot of outdoor experience, but if you haven't, that's even better. So we have two different classes of leaders. We have an assistant leader, which the bare minimum requirement is standard first aid. And then we have an advanced leader, which typically has wilderness advanced first aid and other wilderness-based skill sets. So every trip we'll send out a head leader and an assistant leader. That way there's a balance of skill levels, and the assistant leaders can learn from our senior leaders. And that way everyone has the relative safety requirements and first aid requirements. So if you're interested in getting involved in that, learning a bit more, feel free to email us at macleaders@gmail.com. Don't feel like you need a lot of experience. We also love to train people. So to join our team, we would typically say to visit the DBAC business office and pick up a membership. Right now, the office is having some administrative issues in getting the memberships live. You can't actually go in and get them right now, but hopefully in the next week or two, that'll be back in order, and we'll make some posts on Facebook and Instagram once you're able to do that. Typically, some of the perks have been access to our gear library for gear rentals, that 10% discount at Adventure Attic in Dundas, and a spattering of other things that we'll offer throughout the semester. If we're able to bring back the kayak pool session, those are also free for our members. And normally our trips are discounted as well once we're able to bring those back. So we just like to talk about these other two great groups that we work very closely with, and that's the McMaster Climbing Club for all your climbing related needs and questions, and also Nature at McMaster, which is run jointly through athletics and the president's office related to nature and hiking and sustainability on campus. So if you have any questions relating to those, feel free to check these two great groups out. Sorry. Now, we know that was a bunch of information, but what we really want to do is get to know everyone on this call. So we want to know, what questions do you have for us as the club, and what would you like to see us offer this semester? So that could be trips or workshops, socials, events, speakers you want to see brought in, whatever it may be. We want this to be a successful semester for you guys too. So please, please give us your feedback so we can get on planning. So I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment, and then we'll bring us back to the group. If you don't want your video recorded, then please just leave it off, because we're going to keep recording so people can come back to these questions. But if you feel comfortable, feel free to turn your videos on, and our exec will be here to hopefully answer some questions and play around with some ideas. So if anyone has any questions about this or the club in general or different activities we offer, please feel free to turn off your mic and ask them now, or if you feel more comfortable, you can type them in the chat. Or if there's any particular events you would like to see run this semester, we'd love to hear them and talk about it. Or if anyone would just like to introduce themselves and talk about what they're excited about, that works too. So we had a question about how much memberships are. This year, it looks like our membership is going to be about $20. That might change slightly, but that'll be the ballpark of it. And those will hopefully be live soon. And we'll let everyone know when you can go and pick them up. You'll be either able to pick them up from the DBAC business office. So that's like the big glass office on the right-hand side when you walk in through the main DBAC doors, right by the elevator. Or we're hoping that you'll be able to purchase it online through the athletic page where they have a membership section as well. And we had a question about are bonfires and hikes free, or do you need a membership for them? So our bonfires and hikes do not require a membership, our day hikes, that is. But some of our other events will offer like workshops, and potentially some of our overnight trips will require a membership to attend them. So we have a mix of events. Some are completely open to anyone, and some are more member specific. So someone was asking about, do we do snowshoeing or have access to snowshoes? And we do. Hopefully we have a good snowy season in Hamilton this year. I know last year it wasn't the greatest, but the club does have about a dozen or so pairs of snowshoes that are available for rental. And we normally run a few snowshoe hikes around Hamilton and from campus as well, which is always a lot of fun. We do run events all throughout the year. So in the summer and in the winter and in the fall. So we will continue running things throughout the winter semester. Our bonfires continue even in the winter, as well as we try to offer a bunch of different winter events like snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, downhill skiing on a normal year, but if that's right now, if COVID allows for transportation, but we will definitely be offering trips. We normally offer some winter camping trips as well. We'll see if COVID allows for those to run in the winter semester, but we continue offering a bunch of different events and trips, yes. So about what kind of workshops do we do? Those are typically beginner, so fire skills, tarp skills, bear hangs, how to properly pack a hiking pack or canoe pack, planning trip workshops, orienteering, those kind of things. Occasionally we'll bring in speakers too, like edible plants or wildlife tracking and things like that. But obviously, if I didn't mention something that you're interested in doing, feel free to reach out to us. We have a lot of skill amongst our executive team, and if we don't have it, we're always happy to bring someone in to offer those workshops.
So Noah, our next question is when is the next activity or event that we're running?
So we're hoping to run one more social, potentially a bonfire right at the end of September. That is to be determined what exactly we're doing, but we should have information for that within the week or early next week. And the actual first event that's on the books, aside from that, is on October 6th. We're going to be doing an outdoor coffee house if our social team wants to quickly amp that up.
Yeah, so on October 6th, we're gonna be having super chill bonfire coffee house night, which basically gives people the opportunity to sign up and perform or present any like artwork, poetry. If people want to sing or play guitar, it's kind of a space to share creative pieces like that and to get to know people. Ro and I are creating a poster right now for that, so that will be posted soon. So if anyone is interested in that, keep an eye out on the Instagram for a form where you can sign up for that.
A question about our Hamilton backpacking trip. We're planning to run 2 of them, hopefully, one at the end of October, or potentially, if we get permission in time, over reading week, and then another one in the middle of November. So the dates for those have not been released yet. We're just kind of waiting on final permissions from the university, but those should be up hopefully very soon. It's just a 2-day, 1-night trip, and it's a lot of fun. And in terms of our next bonfire, the first one on the books is October 6th, like Francis mentioned in our chat. The event we're talking about at the end of September might turn into a bonfire as well. We're kind of just playing around with things, but expect to see one on our schedules at least every month, if not more often. But we'll always have the event on Facebook as well as posting about it on Instagram. So you'll make sure you never don't hear about it and miss it.
So the next question, Noah, is do we need to sign up for hikes or do we just show up?
So the hike series will not need sign up as of right now. It's planning to be a first come, first serve kind of thing with a limit of up to 25 people on a hike. Those are limits set by the university for us, and just the ability to handle that many people. This might change as university COVID restrictions change. But as of right now, the hikes are first come, first serve. But make sure you stay on top of our social media channels to find out what's going on. I know it's confusing, but the COVID situation and the provincial and Mcmaster rules are constantly changing, and we're trying to keep up with them.
All right, unless I missed one, which I don't think I did, I think that's pretty much it for the questions in the chat. So if anyone else has any questions, feel free to shoot them in or turn on your mic. We also don't mind talking. We're not scared of it here.
And if any exec have anything they're looking forward to planning this semester that they want to share with everyone, feel free to do that as well.
Did anyone get to do any cool trips this summer? Because we are actually allowed to like kind of do trips this summer because of COVID. No? That's okay. Hannah was in BC. That's pretty fun.
No one?
Oh, nice. Maddie worked at a canoe and kayaking guiding place. That's so fun. I actually just did my first solo kayaking trip right before school started, which was crazy, crazy fun.
Yeah, that's fun. I find kayaking is always like a favorite activity amongst the club.
So Henry just asked us if we ever have events with other schools, Noah.
So we try to offer them, but it depends on how different school schedules work out. In the past, we've run events with Queen's University Outdoor Club, the University of Toronto's Outdoor Club, as well as the University of Guelph's. It just kind of depends on the year. So it's not an every year occurrence, but we try to offer them as often as we can. But we do have a number of members from those other outdoor clubs come on our trips, especially our larger ones. So we do have a close working relationship with a number of other outdoor clubs. If anyone had any interest in doing like a cross-university event. We often also go to the University of McGill's Winter Olympics that they run for outdoor clubs across kind of Ontario and Quebec. So we do some stuff with them as well. So does any of the other exec want to tackle the differences between kayak and canoeing? So it's not just me talking.
Well, I explained in the chat that kayaks and canoes are actually completely different boats. So a canoe, typically you have two people in it. You can solo paddle a canoe though, but usually there's two people, one at the front and one at the back, and you use a single-sided paddle. So it's a paddle with only a blade on one end. Whereas a kayak, you usually only have one person who sits in the middle, and it's a double-sided paddle. So the blade's on both ends and you go like this rather than this. What about techniques and difficulty? That's a really good question. Honestly, I think it's kind of subjective. Personally, I find basic kayaking easier than basic canoeing. But kayaking, there's a lot of like really advanced techniques, especially when you get into like whitewater and sea kayaking. For example, I have been trying to learn how to do a roll in a kayak, which is where you go underwater on one side and you come back up from the other side for years, and I still cannot do it. Whereas canoeing, the more masterful techniques in canoeing are pretty easy to learn. It all kind of depends on the person though. Do we do a lot of water-based activities and sports? So we try to, obviously, because we live in Canada and the majority of the school year is in the Canadian winter. We cannot do a ton of stuff that's water-based, that's outside, just because of hypothermia and that stuff. But we will, hopefully, we're hoping to maybe do 1 or 2 kayaking sessions in Coots Paradise before it gets too cold. We do have a fleet of about 25 kayaks that the club owns. We also run kayaking pool sessions. I'm sure Noah explained this in the presentation, but just kind of like to reiterate, we run those through the winter as well. So even if you want to get a chance to paddle in the water, it's just not outside and you're indoor and you can do it.
And for those who might wonder what a kayak pool session is, basically in the MAC pool, we take our kayaks out. They are whitewater kayaks, so not your typical big, long, flat water boats. And we basically do a whole bunch of kayak techniques and show people how to do rolls and play like kayak water polo, a whole bunch of other fun things in the pool. So it's a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll be able to run those soon as well. Basically, our window for water trips is May or end of May-ish to about reading week in October. That's the window the university gives us for health and safety reasons. So normally we'd have like a whole bunch of Algonquin and Killarney canoe trips in September, October, and occasionally stuff over the winter time, the summertime too. We've also done Kawartha Highlands and Queen Elizabeth Wildlands and a bunch of other ones in the past as well. We try to go ahead.
All right, so I was gonna say Abby Eaton was asking where we could go skating, and both Francis and Emma let us know about the Pier 8 park, Pier 4.
Pier 8.
Pier 8, it is Pier 8, yeah. Pier 8 down by the Hamilton Harbor. I know for a while there, Noah and I were trying to convince Wayne, who is the director of outdoor lands and something. I don't know, he made up his own position title. I don't really know what his job is, but we do report to him as Outdoor Club. We know for a little while there, Noah and I were trying to talk him into making 10-acre field a skating rink in the winter, but we were not successful.
Yeah, there's been requests to have a skating rink on campus for a number of years. They actually used to way back in like the 50s. But they don't anymore. So the closest places to go skating outdoors are either Pier 8, which normally they also have skate rentals down there if you don't own your own. They last year didn't have them due to COVID, so I don't know what the situation will be this year, but definitely check that out. And then the closest skating rink to campus is actually right on Coutts Paradise, so at Princess Point. So not a very long walk or drive or bike ride or bus ride from the university. They don't have skate rentals though, and it is like a use at your own risk because you're actually on the water. But the RBG does maintain the rink and check that the ice is safe and things like that.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah,
of course.
Hi, my name's Cameron. I saw in the chat that you were saying that a lot of people go kayaking in the Princess Point kind of area near Coutts there. Can you rent kayaks from like your gear rental, or do you rent them down near Princess Point?
So there's no rental place at Princess Point. The different groups and people that you see kayaking either own their own equipment, or there's I think a Hamilton kayak club by the waterfront, or we bring stuff in for different groups. The club's kayaks are white water boats, so they're a bit short and more rounded than your typical flat water kayak boats, if you're familiar with them. We do occasionally rent them out as well, but normally it's at once we've kind of judged people's ability levels, because we don't recommend them to the novice user.
Okay.
So it's if you would like to borrow them, I would suggest reaching out to us and kind of seeing where things go from there.
Okay, thank you.
But we will hopefully be running our own kayak events on Coutts with our folks. So.
Okay, thank you.
Farah asked, what are our most memorable outdoor activities?
And just before we get to that, Kieran was mentioning that there apparently is a canoe share, like a car share, but with canoes, program in the Beasley neighborhood. So I would encourage you to check that out if you're interested. So Jesse, do you want to start us off with your most memorable outdoor activity?
I don't know about like most memorable outdoor activity specifically, but like outdoor experience. I've had a few. I think one that really sticks in my mind right now is a trip that I led with Hannah. It was actually the last trip the outdoor club led before COVID quarantine. It was a winter backpacking trip, and I have never been so cold in my life. I have done multiple winter camping trips. I've gone dog sledding. I've done hiking. Like I've done winter camping many, many times. And it was so cold. I was convinced we were going to die. Like it was freezing. I have never experienced anything like that in my life. I did not sleep at all that entire night. I just shivered. It was fun though.
It's one of those type 2 funs.
Yeah, where it's like, it's fun looking back on it in the moment, you just hate your life. But like looking back on it later, it's great.
I would like to say that I slept great that trip. We went to bed at like 7 p.m. and woke up at like 10 the next morning.
I'm so glad you slept great.
I was really tired. So it was great.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chime in, exec?
I can chime in. This actually happened, I think, just before school started this summer. So I like the outdoors, but my parents do not. They are allergic to the outdoors. So we went to Muskoka this summer and we went kayaking, and I had a great ton of fun, but it took so much convincing to get my mother into the water. And when she finally got into the water, every time there was like a little lull or wave, she would scream. And it was the funniest thing ever, because I would go close to her canoe and I would like bump it with my kayak, nothing too big, but she would like literally scream her head off. And she just did not like it, but I thought it was funny. So I don't know if anyone else has any funny outdoor stories, but that's mine.
One time, my dad, my mom had left. So I grew up, unlike Francis, my parents love the outdoors and I grew up camping. And one time we had cleaned up our site for the night and we were all in our tent. We're normally very, very safe campers that if we were car camping, all smelly things went in the car, or if we were canoeing or hiking, everything went in the bear hang. But my mom forgot that she left our dog's dog treats in her coat pocket, and she left her coat out in the campsite because like, it's a raincoat. Like you don't need to bring that in the tent. That's fine. And in the middle of the night, my dad heard something in the site. So he got up and he ended up having a tug of war fight with a raccoon over my mom's jacket because he really wanted the dog treat that was in the pocket. He did get it back. There was a few holes in it though from the raccoon's teeth. Farah just asked, what about if you found a snake or something? So for the most part, snakes aren't really an issue in Canada. We only have one type of poisonous snake, and it's the Massasauga rattlesnake. Venomous. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes. Poison you have to eat. Venom is injected. That's my bad. Venomous snake in Canada. We don't have them here in Hamilton, so it's not really a concern for like any of our day hikes or our Hamilton backpacking trip. You have to go a little bit further north to start seeing them. The closest place that you would see a rattlesnake to Hamilton would probably be Bruce Peninsula. Even then, they don't have them in like Algonquin or anything like that. They don't typically have a population there. They like to live around the Georgian Bay area. So over to the west of us, yes. I had to think about the map for a second, west and north. So that's not really a huge concern. Obviously, like there are protocols if somebody were to get bit. I've camped in regions with Massasauga rattlesnakes in many situations, and I've seen them in many situations. They're very scared of people. Biting is their absolute last offense. For us, in terms of wildlife, the only wildlife that we try to be, I should say the only wildlife we try to be cautious of. The only wildlife that maybe would be a little bit scarier would be things like bear, wolves, coyote, and even moose. Honestly, moose can cause a lot of damage, but as long as you camp smart, it's safe.
An experienced camper will tell you you're more afraid of a moose than a bear.
I'm way more afraid of a moose than a bear. Way more.
But yeah, pretty much all wildlife from snakes up to a bear and moose are way more afraid of people than we are of them. So they tend to give people a pretty wide berth, and you don't really have to worry about them as long as you're careful with food storage. That's really the only time you get into issues. But like Jesse said, the snakes, we have nothing to worry about. And if we are ever in a location that has them, we just have to be aware of that. But there's also been no recorded fatalities, even though it's a venomous snake. So we pretty much have nothing to worry about.
I almost got bit by a Massasauga rattlesnake once, which was honestly totally my bad. I didn't see it and I walked right inside its like little personal space. So like I get it, I would bite me too. And I was terrified and I cried a little bit, but I was fine. So I was also 11. So I feel like I got to cry from that.
We normally see it as a good thing when we see wildlife on a trip, whether that's a snake or a bear or a moose, as long as it's from a healthy distance. But if you are ever more interested in Ontario wildlife and how to avoid wildlife conflicts or anything like that, or ever nervous about what venomous animals or poisonous plants are in a given area, you can always reach out to us and we can fill you in on questions. Plants are actually where you typically have a bigger issue.
Yes.
There's way more poisonous plants.
Giant hogweed is terrifying. Please ignore my cat's butt. Giant hogweed, right? That's what it's called? The blinding one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's others too.
That's the one that scares me because it can blind you and causes like 3rd-degree burns. Not so fun.
If that's something that interests people, we can definitely run a workshop on wildlife and poisonous plants avoidance. If that's a topic that interests a lot of people.
So far, are you asking about the giant hogweed? So it's never happened in the outdoor club. We've always been super cautious. So it's not something that's been in Ontario very long. It's only really become an issue within the last few years, and it's an invasive species. So there have been accounts that have happened in Ontario where people basically like rubbed up against it, and it can cause up to 3rd-degree burns on your arm if you get the sap on it. And if you get it in your eyes, it can cause blindness. Again, we've never had an issue as the club. We're always very aware when we are hiking to stay on the trail. And if there ever is a section that we are going off trail and we know that giant hogweed is a potential, we're very aware of it and make sure we watch out for it. It's pretty hard to miss. It's called giant hogweed for a reason. They're really big. So it's not like it's, for example, like poison ivy, it's easy to miss when you're walking through it. You can't miss walking through giant hogweed. So we always make sure our leaders would be aware of what it looks like before they're going into an area that potentially has it.
It likes to grow along rivers and creeks and in a little bit areas that are wet. So like Jesse said, it can grow quite tall. We're talking like 8 to 10 feet. Has big white flowers and really big jagged leaves. And it's got a very hairy stem that's purplish green. It's pretty rare in Hamilton, so not something you typically have to worry about. Some other jurisdictions like Waterloo and stuff where Jesse's from has it a lot more. But Hamilton, we're actually fairly safe when it comes to that. Pretty rare in our area. It's a phototoxic plant, so the sap reacts to sunlight and causes a burning sensation. So if it's not exposed to the sun, then you actually won't get the reaction. So if you think you come in contact with it, it's just recommended you wash and get rid of those clothes as soon as possible.
Yeah, so it looks like this. We have hogweed in Canada that I don't think it is an invasive species. I think that like normal hogweed is actually here normally. And it looks very similar to this. It has a similar flower, but it's much smaller. So if you ever see one of these guys that's giant, then
there's almost a dozen plants in Ontario that look like this to some degree, that have those same big white spreading flowers. About half of them are poisonous and the other half aren't. So it's probably just a good idea to avoid anything that looks like this if you see it. The most common one that people will see is the Queen Anne's lace, the wild carrot, much smaller and grows in pretty much every roadside and field, but those are non-toxic. So if you see something that's short, nothing to worry about. Any other questions related to anything under the sun, outdoors or Mcmaster?
Wow, those are really informative. I'm just curious, are we gonna run any hybrid event this year? For example, any like online sessions like what we did last year? Do you think we're gonna have any like tutorials or share our knowledge?
So we do have the recordings from last year for people to fall back on, but we're hoping to run at least one virtual event every month. That way, if people don't necessarily feel comfortable coming back to campus, they can still interact with the club. And those might be socials, they might be workshops. It's a stay tuned for that schedule list that's hopefully coming out soon. But we will be offering virtual as well as in-person events.
Sweet, sounds good.
But if there's something someone's particularly looking for, they should reach out to us so we know the plan.
I know Catherine just joined us. Catherine, we've already gone through the presentation, but we will be posting this recording. And if you have any questions you want to ask us now that you're here, feel free to shoot them in the chat or turn on your microphone.
Oh, did I miss the whole thing?
Just the presentation part. We're just doing a Q&A now. It's not a big deal at all though, because we'll post it and you can always reach out to us anytime with questions.
Oh, what time did it start?
7, but that's okay, hon. Don't stress at all.
Oh my God, I thought it was 8.
That is okay.
Yeah, I didn't really have any questions. I was just here more to listen, so I'll just watch the recording after this.
No problem. Does anyone else on here have any burning questions or things they'd like to see us run this semester, any question about the outdoors they've always wanted to know the answer to, or just want to hear us talk more.
Just
Let
on the
us know.
topic of wildlife, are we gonna have like another? I know you mentioned we would have like we could probably have like a workshop on like wildlife and stuff, but will we have like a virtual event as well? I know we did that last year.
We
I
can
think a lot of
definitely-
the, oh, sorry, Noah, go ahead.
We can definitely run either virtually or in person one of those workshops. We did have a workshop that covered poisonous plants, I think, hazards in the outdoors last year at the beginning of the semester that should be recorded, but we'll definitely be able to run it again. Sounds like that's something people are interested in.
Do people want to meet my cat?
Yes, please.
She's gonna get really mad. That's okay. Her name is Knox. Sometimes I bring her to campfires because she likes to be outside, but she walks on a leash because I don't trust her to be outside alone. And she's very angry I'm picking her up, but she's like a living Halloween decoration. Look at her. She's so cute.
Your cat actually can be walked on a leash?
Yes.
And doesn't fall on the ground and like freeze? Like,
so when we first started the training, she did. Like the first time I put the harness on her, she just like fell over. And then she kind of got used to the harness. Then I put the leash on her. And the second I would like pull on the leash at all, she would just immediately freeze and fall over. But we've been working on it. She's 2 now. We've been working on it since she was 6 months old. So it's been a lot of training.
I was walking, this was in Kingston for a game the other weekend, but we were walking down the sidewalk and there's a woman who had like a baby stroller with like a net over and her cat was in there.
Oh, I would 100% do that. I am a crazy cat lady. I almost spent $12 on a chicken costume for my cat today. It took me like 10 minutes to talk myself out of it.
So if folks don't have any last minute questions, we'll probably wrap it up there. If you do have any questions that you didn't feel comfortable saying now or they come up later, feel free to reach out to us through email or Facebook or Instagram, whatever it may be, and we will be happy to answer them. And keep an eye on our social media channels because we'll be posting events very soon. We're just hammering out that calendar. So thank you all for joining us. We had a pretty great turnout and we hope to see you at some of our events. Thanks, guys.
Bye.